Today we're going to talk about what a military relocation professional is. This is a designation that agents receive. So what I wrote down was, what is a military relocation professional? Somebody who paid a fee, took some training, and now has a lapel pin that says they can help you. Now, obviously I say that in jest, but we're going to talk about, for agents, the benefit of getting your military relocation professional MRP certificate, how you get your MRP certificate. Then we're going to talk about some of the downsides for you as the client consumer, because not all MRPs are created equal, and just because someone's an MRP doesn't mean they're a good agent. So we're going to dig through that right after this intro. All right, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. If you get something out of this video, there's a chance I'm going to get some hate and flack in this. I'm going to preface with, there are programs out there that are not as they seem. And I don't think this is necessarily one of them, but just to point out, so like the Better Business Bureau, right? Everyone thinks if you're BBB accredited, that means you're amazing and you should be someone they do business with. Yeah, maybe, but the reality is you pay to get your BBB accreditation. So you pay into it, and if you pay into it, then you're accredited as long as somebody doesn't leave you a bunch of really crappy reviews and they decide to pull it for their own reputation. So it's not always an indicator of being really solid. MRP, similarly, you pay a fee, you do some training, you earn the thingy, and it helps them understand veteran needs, but it doesn't really have anything to do with how good they are as an agent. And so having that certification doesn't necessarily mean you're a great agent. We're going to talk through that, but there are some really great MRPs out there. And if you work with service members, it's kind of a no-brainer to get the certification because it's really affordable, and we're going to dig through all that. So here we go. All right, now you're going to just have to bear with me as I run through some notes on this one because there's a lot more bullet points than normal, but I just want to touch base on some of these because they're not really the meat and potatoes of this video. So what are you going to learn in the training? So here's what you learn. These are the 6 bullet points. This is straight from their website. You learn military demographics. I don't really know what that means other than ages and ranks and genders, and I don't know. Then you learn how BAH works, right? So how the basic housing allowance works, which if you're a service member or vet, you already understand, but if not, this will give you the ins and outs, and it'll tell you like how to figure out how much it is in your area so you can help decide, how much somebody can rent or buy. How a PCS works, a permanent change of station, so that you will understand what that move looks like and what these service members, vets, and their families are going through in that process. Finally, you're going to learn unique pieces of military transactions, such as them being short fuse, having like a short time frame, like I just got orders, I need to find a place to buy. Maybe having to use a power of attorney to close if necessary due to a deployment or something like that. Those kinds of things. Number 5. You're going to learn how to help service members decide whether they should rent a place or buy a place, and then when they're leaving, whether they should rent it out or sell it, right? So you're going to have some understanding of those things. And number 6, you're going to learn how to leverage VA financing and entitlement benefits. That's probably the one piece in this that's actually really useful, is these agents will at least have sat through a class to understand the basics of the VA loan and entitlement benefits. The problem is that it'll depend on how good the instructor was for how good their actual understanding is. Because there's a lot of people out there who just regurgitate misunderstandings about the VA loan. And so if they don't have a really good lender, they're going to struggle with this information, and then you're not going to get it. But I mean, realistically, like if you were a service member or veteran, you probably know all this stuff. So, BAH, you would know. How PCS works, you would know. How to, move fast and maybe need a POA, yeah, you would understand that stuff. If you're an agent and you're worth your salt at all, then you're going to know how to help somebody decide whether to rent, buy, sell, whatever. That's not going to change because they're a service member. That decision's the same, no matter if they're a service member or civilian, because it's the same numbers and decision making. So I don't know what the difference is there, but how to leverage VA financing and entitlements, that part's good. Now, here's some benefits to earning your MRP certificate. Again, using their website and some Googling. So there's 6 here. First is use of MRP logo name, right? So you're getting to buy access to use the symbol saying, I'm a military relocation professional for marketing. Boom. Number 2, downloadable MRP certificate, so you can get a certificate showing that you are a relocation professional. Number 3, a customizable press release, so something that you can push out to say you're an MRP. Number 4, MRP marketing materials to target military and veteran homebuyers. Number 5, the MRP lapel pin that I joked about in the opening. And number 6, this is probably the only one that's actually saying something here. No annual dues after the initial $195 application. So you pay a $195 application fee, you don't have to pay annual dues to keep your certificate, right? But I mean, realistically, if you look at this list, we'll give you a logo to market, we'll give you a certificate to show off, we'll give you a press release to market, we'll give you marketing materials to market, we'll give you a lapel pin to wear around. So like the entire like benefits of your MRP are to walk around saying, look at me, I can help veterans. And like from a marketing standpoint, it helps, it works. But like I've mentioned before, I've run into some military relocation professionals who were just not that good of an agent. So here's some of the downsides to the MRP, especially if you're the consumer. It doesn't mean you're a good agent. I've said this once, said this before. You know, I looked up, you can look up the military relocation professionals in your area. I'm pretty heavily involved in real estate in my area. I've done, I don't know, 30 plus transactions, 100 doors, buy, sell, probably 30 plus, probably like 40, 50 transactions at this point. I've worked with 3 different agents on the buying side, well, four different agents on the buying side, and a whole bunch of other agents on the listing side, as far as like me buying from them as a listing agent. In all of that, and all of my networking and all of my, researching around, when I pulled up the list of military relocation professionals in my market, I didn't recognize one face or name. There were like 15, 20 people listed, but I didn't recognize any of them. So now, does that mean they're bad? No, it doesn't. It just, I would like to think like I know who a lot of the heavy hitters are in town. So you would like to think that they would be one of them. So, who knows? When I pulled up San Diego, I looked through the first 2 or 3 pages, didn't see anyone I recognized. Now, I don't know if those are stacked as far as, any weird organization. I'm sure I do know people there that are MRPs. There were like 70 pages or I don't know, a lot of pages. So just know that in getting your real estate license, they talk about legalese and whatever. They don't teach you how to be a good agent. In the MRP certificate, they talk about working with veterans, but they don't teach you how to be a good agent. So having your license, and having the MRP designation doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually a decent agent, you know what you're doing, and you're going to be the best person for the veterans. I've had a few people that I've, introduced people in my community to that are MRPs that did really well, but I've also had some people that I introduced people to that did really, poorly. So as a veteran, we've all seen the people who run around screaming like, it's a veteran-owned business as like their main marketing source, and 9 times out of 10, those people are disingenuous and really just not looking for your best interest, and they're generally not great. Like, don't get me wrong, being a veteran-owned business is great. Put it on your website, whatever, but if that's your main marketing and selling point, my spidey sense immediately goes off. MRP is kind of the same way. When I see someone who's just, that's their go-to, is like, I'm an MRP, I'm an MRP, I'm an MRP, blah, 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 and the value proposition isn't how good they are as an agent, red flag for me, major red flag for me, because it just seems like they're like, well, if I just push this one niche, then I'll be great, but you have to be a good agent first. So yeah, not all agents are created the same. Oh, and then I already put on here, so it doesn't teach you much besides marketing to vets that you wouldn't already know if you hadn't just served in the military. I already talked about that. And I've just had some really bad business with people who try to target vets specifically for their business through MRP rather than organically or through word of mouth. So overall, here's my take, right? It is totally worth it as an additional certificate if you work with service members and veterans. But from the buyer side, you need to just understand that being an MRP doesn't mean you're a good agent. Now, you could be a great agent, but that should not be your decision point. And if the person you're working with is hinging on that being the reason you should work with them and not their volume, how long they've been in business, their expertise, what their niche is, then you should probably steer clear and find somebody who is going to present themselves as, this is how much I've helped people, this is the volume I've done, this is my experience, this is like, I'm really fucking good at this agent thing. that's who you want to lead with. And if they're an MRP2, great. If not, whatever. All that being said, you know, I always throw this out there, but you know, we've got a massive community of we're the largest military real estate investing community in the world if you look across all socials, and we have a massive community in that of people who are you know, agents and or lenders that I have personally vetted and tried to balance as far as volume and racked and stacked and said this guy's better than that guy, so we're going to use this guy in different markets. And so, you know, if you're PCSing or you're moving or you're looking to buy a house where you're at or even sell a house where you're at, click the link down below or go to my website and click the recommended agents button. And from there, I can introduce you to an agent, lender, or both that fits your needs, fits what you're looking for. They're not all MRPs. Some of them are MRPs, but they are people who have done some volume, are familiar with the area, or come really highly recommended from somebody else in the community. Most of them at this point have at least, in fact, everybody on the list that I know of has at least had 1 or 2 deals, you know, people introduced to them, and anyone that I've ever gotten bad feedback from, either from the agent who was just, I didn't get a good feeling, or from the client saying this wasn't the best fit, we've taken off. And so we've got a pretty solid list of people now on that. And so I would be more than happy to make that introduction for you if you click the link below or recommended agents on the website. We'll help you out. It's, you know, full disclosure, I'm a licensed agent, so if you buy a house, I get a small referral commission from the person I introduced you to on the agent side. On the lender side, I get nothing. That's a RESPA violation. But, you know, you don't pay for it, and you're getting an introduction to somebody who's solid, and I don't get paid unless you actually are really happy and buy a house. So, you know, it's a win-win-win, and I like doing win-win-win business. So again, if you got something out of this, smash the like button, comment down below, subscribe. If you are an MRP and this video made you butthurt, I don't know, comment down below and tell me why I'm wrong and what's amazing about it. What did you learn during your MRP certificate course that you didn't already know that made you an amazing agent, or that you wouldn't know if you weren't a service member or veteran? And as always, follow along for more advice about how to build wealth in the military.